What's up, everybody, and welcome to Tale of the Tape, brought to you by Gym Bag Entertainment, a show about combat sports by guys who love combat sports. I'm your host, Craig, my co-host,
Mike Johnson,
and we're here for another week of combat sport information. We're going to jump deep into it right now, starting off with last week's event, UFC Uruguay, Shevchenko versus Carmouche, Saturday, August 10th. It was at the Antel Arena in Montevideo. And we'll start off right at the bottom, right in the flyweight division. We had Veronica Macedo going up against the replacement Polyana Viana. How'd that fight go?
Macedo with the nasty armbar early in the first round. Viana was outstriking her, putting it on her, but they end up on the ground, and she ended up going for it twice. Didn't get it the first time, but rolled her over nicely with the Kimura figure four lock and ended up in the armbar. Oof.
It was beautiful. I was really impressed because, like you said, it looked like it was a very short fight. Yeah. Just so you understand, like, this is a very short fight.
Submission at 1 minute and 9 seconds.
1 minute and 9 seconds, and Polyana was definitely winning the exchange, and she actually went for the takedown, and that ended up not working out in her favor. And so, yeah, it was a great victory.
I think Macedo's got to get technique of the week right here, right off the first fight, because of that switch from the bottom. Like I said, she figure forward the legs around the arm and, used the Kimura to forced her to roll over onto her back, locked up the armbar. Sick jiu-jitsu.
Nice. So definitely want to see this girl fight again in the future. And until the fight went to the ground, Polyana did look good, so I wouldn't mind seeing her fight again as well.
Silly mistake on the takedown.
Exactly. Next on the fight card, another replacement fight, Gilbert Burns going up against Alexei Kunchenko. There it is. How'd this fight go?
Lackluster.
Yes.
Kunchenko, too tentative, wasn't throwing anything.
Nothing.
Came in highly touted, 20-0, I think his record was.
Couldn't believe it.
Decision win for Burns, did more, decent striking, decent grappling.
Yeah, it was very lackluster. I remember this fight. I remember being a little bit bored watching it, looking into my phone, and then thinking, like, bro, you have no losses on your record.
Right, do something.
And you are doing absolutely nothing to change that. So I mean, if you lose your record that way, I guess you kind of deserve that.
And not a great performance from Burns either.
No.
I mean, just Kunchenko not doing nothing.
Yeah, there was nothing impressive about this fight.
Bright lights got to him, maybe. I think it was his debut.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right, in the men's lightweight division, Kazula Vargas the replacement Kazula Vargas facing Alex De Silva in the lightweight division. How'd that one go?
I didn't catch this one, but we got a decision for De Silva on this one.
I could tell you from what I remember is that I don't remember much. Once again, not a very exciting fight. I think there was some good exchanges, but this fight definitely wasn't one for the memory book, So we'll move on from that one and go right into the bantamweight division. Geraldo de Freitas going up against Chris Gutierrez.
Another decision here. Gutierrez with the win. Another lackluster one.
Yep. The beginning of this wasn't really exciting, so we're going to bang out. And then in the men's flyweight division, Rodrigo Bontorin going up against Raulian Paiva.
Yeah, we got treated to the KO here in this one.
Yes, we did.
Halgerio or Halgerio, however you say his name, he's a threat here in this lightweight division. Had some big power there. Early first round knockout on the prelims. That's got to move you up.
Yeah, that says a lot for him. That's going to get him some good fights in the future, and definitely a guy to watch out for. And then in the women's strawweight division, we have Tessa Torres going up against Marina Rodriguez. And I don't know about you, but this fight did not go the way I expected.
No, it didn't. Marina Rodriguez with the decision here, and it's a big win for her.
A huge win. I really liked what she did in this fight. Tessa Torres was no fear, but could not close the distance. She couldn't get in striking range. She was definitely disadvantaged when it comes to the reach, and Marina took full advantage of that
absolutely.
and and went to work in the striking. I think Tessa went for some takedowns, but Marina was too strong.
The range was too off, like you said. So the takedowns weren't happening for her either. And it's a big win. She really dominated the cage and set the distance, like you said. She couldn't get in there.
Yeah, this was a good fight for both fighters. I mean, it just showed how much heart Torres has. She has to get better at closing the distance on strikers who are better strikers and with a longer reach.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next for both these fighters. But Marina Rodriguez, definitely someone to watch out for.
Definitely.
In the heavyweight division, two fighters I've never seen fight in the UFC. This was very exciting. Both guys had very good records. One guy had a very good record. The other guy record would make you think he wouldn't even be in the UFC. Cyril Gane, 3-0, going up against Rafael Pessoa Nunes, 8-0.
Yeah.
So tell us about this one.
Cyril, I didn't know much about him.
Nobody did.
Or Pessoa, 8-0 is a great record. Yeah. That's somebody you would figure would be debuting, maybe a big time heavyweight. But Gane here, I had no idea he was the protege of Francis Ngannou.
Yes.
And, you figure giant power gonna come out of the gates, maybe some wild punches, but he looked pretty patient, honestly, and comes out with the grappling win and a early submission in the first round with a very nice arm triangle.
Very nice arm triangle. And the most impressive part to me is that Pessoa Nunes is the submission expert and gets submitted by the guy who's supposed to be, more of a power puncher.
Right.
The guy is I think he's Muay Thai.
Yeah.
He's a Muay Thai specialist.
Yep.
So he's had a lot of those type of fights. So to come in and put a guy in an arm triangle who is the submission expert of this fight, the guy who's the judo guy, that speaks volumes for his ability.
Yeah. All the hype that I heard was, Pessoa, if he was going to win, it would be on the ground, and that's where he lost.
Yeah.
So.
And it was a pretty. It almost felt easy.
Right.
It almost felt like Gane got this pretty easily.
Absolutely, and he looked in killer shape. I mean, he looks like a dangerous heavyweight.
Yeah, definitely a guy that I think both these guys are going to be guys to look out for.
I think so too.
But Gane really said something to come into the UFC 3-0 and beat a guy who's 8-0 at his own game. That speaks high volumes for his future in the UFC.
Yeah, to have only 3 professional fights, and to be able to come into the UFC, they got to see something great in you. You know what I mean? They have to know that you're going to last and give them good fights. And
he did not disappoint.
I think he could be around for a while. He's one to look out for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Now we're going to move on to the main card. We have Enrique Barzola going up against Bobby Moffett. How'd this fight go?
I think it was maybe the least of the main card.
Yeah.
Decent fight. Back and forth. Decision win for Barzola. Split decision. I think it was justified. Moffett actually had something like 2 more significant strikes than he did.
Wow, really?
But Barzola ended up getting 2 takedowns.
Probably controlled the octagon.
And his shots were a little heavier, and Moffett was playing a counter striker's game. And he got real predictable. Moffett through the second and third round, he was throwing the same combinations over and over. Wasn't changing his angles. And Barzola was changing his game. Knew that, he was having a hard time with the distance because Moffett was establishing good distance.
Yep.
He had a nice switch left high kick that he was throwing, but he was throwing 1-2 high kick, 1-2 high kick. And Barzola knew he had to get inside of that. He started coming with some big hooks and started landing.
Yeah, you can't be predictable in the UFC.
And he realized that he could have been losing rounds, so he threw in a takedown. I think at the end
of the round,
at the end of the second and the third round,
yes,
he threw in a takedown smartly.
I do remember that.
And
it was now that you're saying that, it was a very, very even fight, exceptionally even. But the takedowns is what earned him the victory.
I think that's what got it for him for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Both men showed some good stuff though, and some good cardio to go the distance, and they had a good strike output. So
So 2 guys we want to see fight more, but maybe
Absolutely.
add a little something to the game.
Yep.
All right, in the men's middleweight division, Rodolfo Vieira going up against Oscar Piachota.
Yeah.
All right, how'd that fight go?
Piachota looked like a giant Marshall Mathers to me. I found it a little amusing, but no hate on you, bro. It's okay.
Gotcha.
Rodolfo Vieira is a big threat at middleweight.
Yes.
His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is incredible. His pressure is incredible for the takedown. It's a little reminiscent of Husamar Palhares. If you remember who that is, some people might. He was kind of a terrible guy, holding submissions too long, and he got thrown out of the UFC and stuff like that. But he reminds me of him with that amount of pressure on the ground and strength. I mean, he's built like a bodybuilder, and he's super huge at middleweight, but looked to have some good endurance.
Yeah.
Piachota was, keeping some distance, landing some shots. He was fighting a smart fight, it seemed. I think I had him up in the first round personally, and but Vieira just came out in the second round and looked for the takedown and nothing else. Mounted him almost instantly, and cinched up a beautiful arm triangle from while he was in the mount, and then switched over to the side. Yeah, and there was no getting out. I mean, there was no escape.
Overweight.
Too much pressure.
All right, and then this fight I actually really liked. Light heavyweight division, Volkan Ozdemir going up against Alir Latifi in the light heavyweight division. This was a really good fight. I felt like Volkan just had his number though.
Incredible fight. This is Volkan's best fight that I've seen, ever. He ended up with the KO in the second round, late, but I mean, he really put it on Latifi the whole fight.
He was exceptionally patient and just picked his shots.
Perfect word. Patience was, exactly what it was, and his range was great. Picked him apart with kicks and knees.
Yep.
The jab was effective all night. Latifi didn't know what to do.
Yeah, he had zero answers for this fight.
I think I read one in the striking stats that Volkan landed more significant strikes than Latifi attempted. So the output was crazy.
Yeah, this could be the return of Volkan.
And that left hand at the end, I mean, the left hook, he dug that in, and then when he was slumped against the cage and he ran up and gave him one more left hook, that put him dead.
That was, and there was more than one time in that fight where he almost had.
Oh yeah, Latifi's got some staying power.
Yeah.
I mean, he ate shot after shot.
Yeah, he's not.
Took a bunch of big knees because he likes to dip his head when he throws them overhands, and Volkan was really prepared. Yeah, I mean, it was a great fight.
He was exceptionally prepared, and I like Volkan Ozdemir, so I'm looking forward to seeing future fights from him, and I'm hoping this is a resurgent of
absolutely.
his
I mean,
career.
this could. I think when he was gunning for the title, that he jumped up too soon, and he said that in his post-fight interview. He was like, "I think I won too much, too young," and
he wasn't prepared.
He's rededicated and. He looks good.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Volkan Ozdemir in the future. I'd like to apologize because these next 3 fights I absolutely did not get a chance to see. So we'll start with the men's featherweight division. Eduardo Garagori going up against Humberto Bandenay. There you go. Humberto Bandenay. How'd this fight go?
This was a good battle. Ended up being a unanimous decision for Garagori, and he was actually the Uruguayan native, and the house went crazy.
Oh, that's good.
He was the only Uruguayan on the card, and yeah, they went nuts.
Oh, you're gonna go nuts.
And he put on a good show too. He outstruck him significantly, something like 20 more significant strikes. I mean, it was a clear unanimous decision.
Yeah. And in UFC, 20 more strikes is significant.
And punishing they were, compared to Bandenay. Bandenay was landing too. It was a good battle back and forth. They had a good clinch game against the fence the whole fight. It was a real war. But the shots from Garagori was just way stronger, big hooks, uppercuts, you know. And yeah, he was real emotional in the post-fight.
Gotta be.
The crowd went crazy. And he's an undefeated fighter too. I think something like 16-0. He's somebody to look for in the featherweight division.
Wow.
Tall featherweight too.
I love when people win it in their hometown, and I always feel bad when they lose, especially if they're like one of the only one or two.
It would have been terrible.
Yeah.
If he lost, because I mean, when Bond and I came to the cage, it was, you know, the quietest thing you've ever heard. No booze. They were classy.
Just
quiet. No cheers whatsoever. When Garagori started coming out, they went insane. It was crazy.
And at least they got a good fight on their hands.
And Bond and I was game. I mean, they landed some punches back and forth, hurt each other, you know, threw some high fives up there, you know, one of them good battles.
Yeah.
So it was good.
All right, and then in the welterweight division, Vicente Luque going up against Mike Perry, and I heard about this fight, but I did not get to see it. Tell me what I missed.
The fight of the night, I would have to say.
Wow.
Two big dogs going to war in the welterweight division. Luque showing, you know, he's shown in his last couple fights the great power. He's bringing in the great offense, and I think he showed great defense in this fight. He ends up winning a split decision. I mean, it's controversial. You can go either way, but I would say Luque. I think the Perry actually landed 2 more significant strikes than Luque did.
Yeah.
And they were more powerful than, you know, because he throws them big bombs. So it looks more damaging when he's hitting you too. So that could lead to your way. But Luque's defense was incredible. You know, he did take a lot of shots. You know, they both did.
Yeah.
They both did. But you know, he wasn't too damaged. He was composed. He was never really in danger.
Yeah.
And he had Mike Perry in danger a couple times from some big shots.
I heard he blew his face out.
And at the end, with the giant knee that destroyed his face. I mean, his nose is got to be broken in 3 or 4 spots. It was all the way mashed on the side of his face. You know, you got to just look at it on YouTube.
Oh no!
It's so bad. And maybe the worst UFC injury that I've seen to the face, you know, like, because I think a broken leg is more significant.
Yeah, but to the face, because I mean, you have Chris Weidman who got his face blown out by Yoel Romero.
Big cuts and pretty terrible concussions to the head, you know.
And if not in the UFC, Michael Venom Page, like denting dude's forehead.
Right, anything that takes so long to recover in surgery, like Perry's doing well. He got surgery the day after. He had to stay in Uruguay a little bit. You know, and it's unfortunately he's probably going to be out for a year.
Oh yeah, I mean, an injury like that.
The doctor said, the last report that I read, doctor said no facial contact for 6 months. You can't even touch his face, like, you know. Like,
wow.
So definitely,
and, you know, we touch our faces a lot. Yeah, no training at all.
Definitely, you know, if he takes a shot to the face, he's done.
Yeah, he'll probably drop to the ground and cry like a baby.
So, but. You know, the significant strikes, like I said, about the same. But Luque did get 2 takedowns to Perry's 1 takedown. So I think they might judge that. Plus, in the ending of the 3rd round, right after the big knee, which broke Perry's nose, he goes for the takedown, winds up in a guillotine. And if it wasn't for all the blood pouring on him, it's a horrific scene. I mean, it looks like a faucet of blood pouring onto Luque's stomach.
Like
and at first, because you didn't, you know, you see the knee land, but you didn't see the damage right away because he took him right down. So you don't know where the blood's coming from at all. I mean, he had cuts on both eyes already. They were both damaged. It was a war. It was a great co-main event. Definitely fight of the night.
Okay. Well, I look forward to watching it tonight. See what happens.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for all the blood, it probably would have been finished in that guillotine. It was tight. So, with the near finish, you know, in the you know, the defense that he put up all night, Luque, in the 2 takedowns, he definitely gets it for me. I don't know that it should even have been a split decision, but I think Mike Perry is becoming one of these fighters that you don't even care if he loses.
Yeah, you just
Like,
want to see him fight.
Yeah, like he ain't going nowhere. He ain't
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
lose his
yeah.
contract. Like, you know what I mean? He's still gonna be a headliner.
Exactly, because he puts on a show.
I don't think it hurts his stock to
No.
lose a fight, especially when you lose it like that.
When
Like,
you're a good fighter, you can always lose.
Yeah,
When you're a
that's
good
great.
fighter and you're an exciting fighter, you can always lose.
Yeah, I think he's stepped into that realm now.
All right, then we have in the flyweight division the main event, the championship fight. Valentina Shevchenko going up against Liz Carmouche, the first woman to face Ronda Rousey in the UFC. Let's talk about that one.
I think it was an incredible fight by Shevchenko. Most fans are probably disappointed. It's a lackluster decision, not much happening back and forth. But I think more that, you know, stands to how dominant Shevchenko was. It was dominant, and it was a smart win. And Carmouche did nothing. I mean, like we said about Kunichenko earlier, just not performing.
Yeah.
Carmouche, and what got me the most is she had excellent movement that seemed to be confusing Valentina a little bit. You know,
Okay.
She was in and out, real smooth, in and out, but not attacking. You know, it was
Wow.
it was kind of confusing. She had something like 13 significant strikes. I mean, over
In a championship
over a
fight.
5-round fight. In the third round, Valentina landed. You know, she didn't have to throw much, so she didn't.
Yeah.
She really, her output was based on Liz Carmouche.
Carmouche's output, yeah.
You know,
which is smart.
It is. Keep your title. Don't hurt yourself. You get a quick turnaround. You know, the gulfing class between Shevchenko and the rest of the division is just so apparent. It's crazy.
It's a huge difference, and I like how you said that. Just to like kind of dive into that a little bit more. It's a lot more smarter than just winning the title and keeping your title. If she takes little damage, she puts little output in, now she could fight soon again and get paid once more. You know, she could fight in the next UFC.
Right, and it's another title defense to add to her legacy. I mean, here she is now, 2 successful defenses, and I mean, the sky's the limit. Who's going to beat her? Nobody. You know, and like Carmouche just, she didn't change. She didn't try. I mean,
the only threat to Shevchenko is if somehow, some way, Amanda Nunes drops weight and says, "I want 3 titles."
I think that they might end up pushing Shevchenko. Dana White in the UFC might be pushing for the 3rd fight between Nunes and Shevchenko because Nunes is running out of challenges too.
Yeah, she's got 2 maybe.
And we got 2 big-time championships. But I think Shevchenko should dismantle this division some more before they build it up because I think they could make it even a bigger fight if they wanted to.
Well, right now it's like I feel like people don't realize women's MMA is still in its infancy.
It really is.
Compared to men's UFC. Like there's so many women who are being inspired by, you know, the Ronda Rouseys, the Shevchenkos, the Amanda Nuneses, and the Chris Cyborgs, that more women are fighting. This weight division is going to build. The only part that I would say is unfortunate is by the time I think it gets bulky enough, Shevchenko is going to be maybe declining.
Right. Same with could be said about you know, Amanda Nunes, and you're right. I mean,
because that's what happened to Ronda.
To think that we might not have seen the best of women's MMA, you know,
100% believe
is very
that.
exciting.
Yeah, I 100% believe that Amanda Nunes being the best female fighter in the world. I mean, because look how dominant Ronda Rousey was. You didn't think anybody could beat her, and then back-to-back 2 fighters beat her.
Well, I knew she couldn't strike from watching her.
Well, yeah, of course.
You know, just from watching her. But she didn't get threatened, you know, so.
Yeah, the biggest threat she had was Betch Kohara, and Betch Kohara is just a brawler.
And Ronda caught her early, so, you know. But, yes, Shevchenko far and wide beyond, you know, the women's flyweight division, and I don't know who might step up to her next. You know, you got some people that are up in the rankings that she hasn't faced yet. So
I'd like to see her. I'd like to see Nico Montano drop down back to that division and see how that goes. I think there are women who can fight in that division who can at least put up a fight. So we'll see what happens.
I thought the strength of Carmouche would at least play into the fight. You know, she's a super strong grappler, but
I think
in the
Shevchenko
grapple
is strong.
exchange, Shevchenko threw her around like a rag doll,
Yeah.
slammed her hard in the fourth round or fifth round.
Shevchenko is a powerful
she's
girl.
a beast, and I don't know who's gonna come up with the answer.
Nobody. Not for a while.
No.
All right, now we want to bring to you the first recap of a bare knuckle event. So bare knuckle FC, it was Alers versus Garcia. It was Saturday, August 10th in Biloxi at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. We're gonna just give you a few fights that we like the most. Starting off with Harris versus Vasanti. This was awesome.
This is as good as bare knuckle gets.
Yeah,
I think.
I think this might be the best bare knuckle fight I've seen.
Yeah, a dominant performance by Caleb Harris. Finished early in the second round. After dropping Vastante, three times in the first round?
3 times. He didn't get. The only reason why it didn't get finished in the first was because when he got up on the third knockdown in the first round, there was 9 seconds left.
And Caleb Harris was patient and calm. You know, he didn't rush him. He knew he had plenty of time and that he would get him in the second.
Exactly.
And put him face down with that overhand right.
Oh man! Somebody say timber.
With the walk-off knockout too.
It was like one of those comical knockouts. Just the overhand right crosses the jaw, just as Vasanti is going for the uppercut, which grazed.
And landed. Yeah, it landed it.
It landed slightly, and when he hit the overhand, he already knew. He saw the glaze, and homeboy's arms fell down, and it was just a slow timber to the face down to the mat, and it was hilarious.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
That's always good when it takes a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that fight. I was really excited for that one. Next on the list, we have the women's championship fight.
No, I was mistaken. I did say that last week, but they're doing a featherweight Grand Prix tournament, and this was the semifinals.
So semifinal Grand Prix tournament in the women's division. It's Peralta versus Fiera. Tell us about that.
Oh, this was a war. I mean, both went to decision for Peralta, unanimous. Significantly unanimous.
Yeah.
I mean, one judge had it 48-45.
Wow.
You know, out of a 5-round fight. Yeah. And both women with crazy damage on their face. I mean, Peralta was faster and crisper. Hats off to her. She got big damage on her left eye early in the second round, I believe, and it just got worse and worse and worse. But she still was putting up more of the output, and she beat on Christine Ferreira.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a good fight. I didn't get to watch this one, so I'm gonna go back and check it out.
And they're hard hitters too, 145 pounds.
Yo,
you know?
yeah. How can you not be at that weight?
Tough too. Take all them shots too. Oof.
It baffles me that these people out there with no gloves on, and they like. I remember. I don't know if you ever seen the movie. I just want to kind of touch on it. Did you ever see that movie Undisputed with Wesley Snipes?
Yeah.
And Ving Rhames, and they originally wanted to do a bare knuckle match, and the dude was like, you know, if we put on the 8 ounce or whatever, the 5 ounce gloves, you know, they'll throw more. People bare knuckle tend to throw less. They're not throwing less.
No, it doesn't seem so.
Honestly, it seems like they throw more. So this is real. This could be really exciting the more it builds up.
The only thing that I'm noticing from a lot of the post-fight interviews with a lot of fighters, there's significant injuries normally. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of damage to the face.
It's rare to come away from a 5-round fight like this and not be messed up. You know, like some of these people have messed up pretty good from a first-round KO. But and I've seen quite a few broken hands in the post-fight interviews. You know, from fighters that won even.
Yeah. So it could be tough to maintain.
Could be tough on your body.
Could be tough.
I don't know how long these guys can go at it.
Then again, they could just turn it into a UFC situation where they just have a ton of fighters that they can just. Because I mean, there's a lot of guys who can't make it into high level mixed martial arts.
It's true. All guys that have incredible hands and good hand speed, which means that you can box well.
Yeah.
But can't kick, can't grapple, so they don't do well in MMA. They might shine here.
Exactly. I mean, look at what's her name? I had her name. before I came here. Becky Rollins.
Okay.
Becky Rollins is doing really well there. All right, now we'll move on. Valley Flag versus Gillard. How'd this fight go?
Yeah, Melvin Gillard making his debut. He was doing good, fighting a buddy of his, actually, Isaac Valley Flag. I found this out in a post-fight that
They're friends.
they're actually close friends. Them and Leonard Garcia, who was in the main event, they all used to live together. Yeah, and sparred together plenty of times and trained together. And, you know, they offered him a fight together. They say, hey, why not?
Yep.
It was good. It was a good start for him. He was doing real well. Broke his hand early. You could tell.
Yeah.
The shot that he, I think it was end of the first round, and fought all the way through the fourth, like because they go 2 minutes 5 rounds. Yeah, 5 2-minute rounds.
2-minute rounds. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? I did realize the rounds were really short.
And he fought all the way to the 4th round with the broken hand, and was, you know, mainly just throwing jabs and left hooks, you know. And it's not like MMA, you get a broken hand and you can rely on that elbow or your kicks on that side.
Yeah,
you know.
got that.
Right, so you're down to one hand, and yeah, Valley Flag capitalized, you know, and Gillard couldn't come out of the corner after round 4 because the hand was too much.
Yeah, it's way too much.
And
hey, I mean, to go to the 4th round with a broken hand is commendable in itself.
Serious, and that's 3 wins in a row for Valley Flag. He's 3-0 in bare knuckle.
Nice.
So that's pretty
more
good.
to see from this guy after he recovers.
Right.
All right, and then weirdly enough, the co-main event is actually the only title fight in the heavyweight division: Adams versus Sherman. How did this one go?
I couldn't find any reasoning for that. Why the title fight would be the co-main event, and you know,
it's weird
because the Grand Prix semifinal is at least setting up a #1 contender. The Garcia-Allers fight wasn't even the Grand Prix fight, so.
No. Maybe they just have, maybe in the bare knuckle world, they're just more popular.
I think maybe because Allers is popular. He's coming off a 1st round KO. I'm not sure the opponent, but you know, he's making the big waves. And Leonard Garcia was huge in MMA. He was a fan favorite. He's a wild man, throws crazy. So people were excited.
So maybe it's just the popularity of the fight.
People were excited to see Leonard Garcia come fight, you know. But the co-main event, like we said, the heavyweight title fight, Arnold Adams. It could be, you know, I've looked up his past fights, and he's a little lackluster. He's a little on the decision guy, you know. But he looked kind of smart to me in his past fights, you know. Like, you are bare knuckle, you are heavyweights, and he looks like he doesn't want to get his face bashed in. But his low output strategy did not work against Chase Sherman, but they went the distance, and Adams put up a good fight, but the body shots from Sherman is what did it in.
Yeah.
He switched up the attack well, and Adams looked like he was gassing out come the 4th and 5th round, but I don't think it was. I think it was accumulative damage from the body shots.
And that's how it goes. Sometimes too much damage.
Absolutely. And Sherman got better. As the fight went on, every single round he got better and better, and I ended up dropping Adams in the 5th, but you know, he survived the count and, you know, won the decision. Sherman gets himself the heavyweight title.
You know what surprises me about this is about bare knuckle boxing, they don't have the 3 knockdown rule.
No.
Because we saw in the Harris-Vicente fight, he went down 3 times in 1 round, and they continued. I was like, what? I
watched the fight with Artem Lobov and Jason Knight, and Jason Knight went down like 8 times, and they went to a decision.
Wow.
He didn't even get knocked out.
You know, I wanted to see that.
I think that was that was the most damaging fight I've seen too. Yeah, I felt pretty bad for Arnold Adams here too. You know, I watched the post-fight interview. He seemed like a real nice guy. He was talking about his grandmother who passed, and got emotional in the interview. I like that the commentator, that they have, the woman who interviews him, she's like an older woman, and she's motherly with the fighters. As soon as he started breaking down, she pulled him right in and was like, okay, Arnold. I thought that was pretty nice.
Yeah, I think you might need that motherly love after getting your face smacked in by no glove bare knuckle boxing.
And he lost his title. He was pretty upset.
Yeah, of course. All right, and then the main event, Allers versus Garcia. Tell us about it. this one was good.
If you don't watch bare knuckle, you're gonna watch Jim Allers. Like this dude is making big waves. Like I said, he was a former MMA fighter. You know, he said he was getting bored with mixed martial arts. Didn't want to fight MMA anymore.
Okay.
And you know, they offered him a contract with the BKFC, and he loves it, and he's here to stay.
Nice.
Like I said, KO'd one dude in the first round, his first fight, and then they put him in the main event here with Leonard Garcia, and he KOs Leonard Garcia in the first round.
And
devastating.
It was brutal, man.
After dropping him multiple times.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how many times he dropped him, but then puts him out
I think
cold.
there was at minimum of 4 drops in the round.
Right. I think he went through the ropes at one point. I mean, it was ugly. Allers is a serious, dangerous man.
And he literally, the thing that was crazy is Allers literally gave Garcia no time to breathe. Like, as soon as the bell rang, he charged him, banging out punches. As soon as they got separated and the ref said go again, boom, charged him. He's just laying out punches. This dude, Garcia looked lost.
Oh, yeah.
He looked lost in the circle.
There was no defense again. He didn't know what to do about the pressure. And Allers in the post-fight, called out Artem Lobov.
Oh, really?
Because he thinks it would be entertaining.
That would be. I like Lobov because he's not afraid.
And he said it only because he thinks it'll be entertaining for the fans that he wants to knock out Artem Lobov. Of course, he had to throw it like that. You know?
Throw out knockout, yeah. Because Artem Lobov, he's a beast, man.
Right.
I like him.
The fight that I seen against Jason Knight was great, and he ended up with the decision. But you know, he looked to be patient and smart. And I don't know if you can sit back on the heels with Allers coming at you like that.
No, not at all. And he can't be there with his hands down like he used to do in UFC.
Absolutely not.
So we'll see what happens with that.
That'd be a fight to see.
All right. With that being said, now we're going to move on to what looks like an exciting pay-per-view. UFC 241, Cormier versus Miocic 2. Miocic wants his title back. Saturday, August 17th, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at the Honda Center in Anaheim. This card is strong. And we want to talk about the big fights. So we're just going to kind of give you a rundown of what we have in the prelims, so that way we can really dig into this main card. In the prelims, we have Sabina Mazo 6-1 going up against the 3-2 Shayna Dobson. Shayna Dobson's from Ultimate Fighter.
Definitely going with Shayna Dobson in this one, for sure.
I like the way she looks. I think this could be a nice upset.
Absolutely.
In the bantamweight division, we have Kyung Ho Kang, 15-8 with 1 no contest, going up against Brando Davis, 10-5. And with a name like Brando, I gotta go with you.
Yeah, I kind of like that too.
And
10-5 is pretty nice.
10-5 is a good record to have.
Yeah.
And then in the women's strawweight division, we have Hannah Kleifers, 9-3, going up against the 6-5 Jody Esquibel.
Esquibel?
Esquibel.
Yeah, I think so.
Who do you think?
I think I'm going with Hannah in this.
I could not agree more.
Yeah.
She got that 9-3 record. Jody pretty much has a 500 record. I don't like that very much, so I want to see what Hannah can do. In the men's bantamweight division, we have Manny Bermudez, 14-0. Going up against Casey Kenny, 12-1. Those are two real good records.
I think the prelims is all pretty interesting.
Yes.
Everybody's got good records.
It looks like there are a lot of UFC debuters here.
Right, but some good big time debuters. I think I'm going with Bermudez on this one.
Hard to not go with an undefeated record here.
14-0 is tough to get to.
Yeah, 14-0 is tough to get to. We gotta hope it's not like whatchamacallit.
Yeah, Kunichenko with the 20-0.
With the 20-0.
I've been wondering lately with these, big undefeated records. Maybe some promotions you can get to, a high record without a defeat if you're an exceptional fighter fighting in a bum promotion.
I mean, in my opinion, you take a fighter. We'll just throw someone out there like someone fighting this card, Anthony Pettis. And you throw Anthony Pettis, say, in Bellator.
Right.
how many fights is he gonna
And
lose?
you ain't even making it to a Bellator when you're nobody. So let's say Cage Warriors, you know, like
Exactly.
you're talking. That's how they get these records.
Yeah. So sometimes people have bulked up records.
They don't get their faults exposed until
Yeah.
they make it here. You know?
And then sometimes you have a guy who happened to start off in a low promotion, but is way too good for that promotion.
Right.
And he does come into the UFC and puts in work.
Right, maybe stayed there too long, and that's why he built up all them wins.
Exactly. So now in the men's lightweight division, we have Christos Giagos, 17-7, going up against the 10-1-1 Drakkar Klose. And that name right there just got me. Drakkar Klose.
Right, like, yeah. I think it might be Klose, because I've seen German soccer players with that last name.
Oh, even better.
And they pronounce it like that, Klose. And, yeah, Drakkar, like the Cologne, Drakkar Noir, of course, yeah.
What's the movie? No, the show Raising Hope.
Yeah.
The son used to dress up in goth, and he called himself Drakkar Noir. Oh, that's what I think of. So I gotta go with
yeah,
them.
Drakkar Noir.
Absolutely.
I mean, Klose.
No, Noir. That's what we're calling him from now on. That's your name, bro.
Yeah, and I didn't like Christos Giagos out in his last fight. So, yeah, definitely Drakkar.
All right. And then in the men's bantamweight division, Rafael
Assunção.
Oh, I know that too. Rafael Assunção, 27-6, going up against the 11-1 Corey Sandhagen.
Assunção's a veteran. I've been watching him a long time. I'm sure you've seen him fight.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to see him win this, but Sandhagen's on his way up. I think he's going to take this.
Yeah, I feel like we're not going to be disagreeing too much today.
Yeah.
Corey Sandhagen, 11-1. I'm liking him in this particular fight,
Absolutely.
but I do like Assunção. I think this could be an epic fight.
And it could be a big win for Sandhagen if he takes this. You know, it propels you a win over a veteran for sure.
Exactly. All right, and then the main event of the prelims, Devontae Smith, 10-1, going up against the 12-6 Kama Worthy.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that name, Worthy.
Worthy.
But it's hard to go against Devontae Smith here.
Last time I seen Devontae Smith fight, it was a good fight.
Yeah.
And I find it hard to believe that Worthy is going to take this one.
Yeah, and I don't like that record either.
No.
Compared to Devontae's. Devontae's much better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Devontae Smith, we have it. And then into the main card, where every fight has the potential to be fight of the night. Derek Brunson, 19-7, going against Ian Heinisch.
Yeah.
13-1. What do you think?
I like Heinisch in this a lot. I mean, Derek Brunson was on a tear for a while, but had some bad luck. But Heinisch is like, he's on the fast train.
He is on the
He's
fast
a wrecking
train.
ball.
I like Derek Brunson just because he has some good striking. He's a well-rounded fighter.
Yeah.
And I am somewhat of a Derek Brunson fan. I have seen Heinisch fight before, and I do like him. I want Derek Brunson to win so bad, though.
Yeah, it's hard to go against him. You know, he's a likable guy.
Yeah.
I was a fan too.
But I do think that this is a hump fight for Ian.
Yeah,
I think
he's
just
on
supposed
his
to
way
propel him up. So
I absolutely think so.
yeah, we have to go with Ian in this fight. Know that we like Brunson, but we do think that this is a fight to prove that he is on his way to that title.
Because Ian is on his way climbing. You know, and Brunson, he hasn't improved as much recently.
He's pretty much the same fighter he always is.
Right.
Very good fighter, but just not that guy who's going to get to the title.
Right, and Heinisch is better every time.
And then in the featherweight division, the men's featherweight division, Gabriel Benitez, 21-6, going up against the 9-1 Sodiq Yusuff. And I feel like I've seen Sodiq Yusuff fight, and I think it's gonna go his way.
He's powerful heavyweight
Heavy?
I mean, sorry, feather. My bad. And super fast, lean and long too. And I gotta go with him in this for sure.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I don't know a lot about Gabriel Benitez, but Sodiq is.
I think he fought maybe 3 cards back. I think it was a fight night, and I think he's coming off the loss. Benitez.
So yeah, this is just another one of those fights. Propel Sadiq up and see if he can get through some veterans. And then now we're gonna move on to one of the fights I am really looking forward to. Is in the middleweight division. Yoel Romero, 13-3, going up against the up and coming 12-0. Paul Costa.
This is big time.
This fight has a lot of consequences.
Yeah. The athleticism of both men is crazy.
Absolutely.
I mean, they could easily be light heavyweights. They're huge middleweights, but carry it incredibly
well with a lot of cardio.
Right. Romero, I've been a fan of his fighting style. Maybe not always a fan of his antics, or
Yeah, the slow get-ups and all that.
Yeah,
he plays the system.
It leans towards cheating, you know. Paulo Costa, great striking. I love his hands straight down the middle. Big right hand.
Very technical.
Very technical, very athletic. This is a wild card.
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to call it.
It's tough. I think Romero's more dynamic, maybe. With the flying attacks, the spinning elbows that he likes to throw.
You never know what he's going to hit you with. I mean, my favorite moment we talked about a little earlier is when he blew up Chris Weidman's face. Chris Weidman goes down, he comes up.
And that was a shot that thrown like a flyweight. You know what I mean? He went soaring through the air with that knee. The athleticism on a middleweight like that is crazy. And that might be the decider here, maybe. But I think Costa might be the more disciplined striker. I think he's more patient. I think his attack is more down the middle, and maybe not basic, but fundamental.
Yeah, exactly. What I would like to see personally is Yoel Romero do what he did to Whitaker, but not stop. Yoel Romero, the first time he fought Whitaker, he was going to win that fight.
Yeah.
He had blown out and turned to hamburger meat Whitaker's leg, his lead leg, but then after the second round, he stopped throwing it. Maybe he stopped throwing it because his own leg was hurt, and I don't know, but he has really good leg kick, and if he can use that against Paul Costa, I think that could be what actually helps him win this fight.
Absolutely. He's got to do something different. I don't think he wins against Costa in a straight-up striking battle, punch for punch. I think he's got to do something smart to wear him down.
Yeah.
Like mix in the leg kicks, or knees and elbows. He's got to make it different and dynamic.
Come with the kitchen sink.
Absolutely, because I think if not, he's in trouble.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. This is I'm going to repeat it. I think this is an uncallable fight.
I think I'm going to go with Costa. Honestly.
So then let's just split it up. We're going to go with Romero and Costa. We'll see how it goes.
Because he's got a big opportunity here. This could be,
it's
number one contender fight. It could be, absolutely.
And what's crazy is there's a lot of contenders right now in the middleweight division. So no matter who wins this fight, they're not immediate. I don't think unless this is like the fight of the night, amazing performance. Neither one of these guys would have win is getting shot right to title contention.
Unless maybe, one blows through the other.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It has to be big time.
Yeah.
All right, and then in the welterweight division, we got an awesome veteran fight going on right now. Anthony Showtime Pettis, 22-8, going up against Nate Diaz with the Stockton slap, 19-11. I couldn't be more excited about this fight.
This is a good one.
Yeah, this is a fight I never really wouldn't even have thought to put together. Yeah. But two guys who just absolutely should be fighting each other.
I like the matchup.
I love it.
I do. You wouldn't think of it like you said right at first.
And then you hear it and you're like,
yes. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yes.
You look at Nate Diaz and you're like, oh, why does he deserve to fight Anthony Pettis when Anthony Pettis is coming off the great knockout over Wonder Boy? But,
I think if you ask that question, you don't remember both fights against Conor McGregor.
Right. I mean, who has done better? besides Khabib. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Nobody has given Conor as good of a fight as Nate Diaz, and nobody even gave Nate Diaz the credit that he could do what he did against Conor.
Absolutely.
And
I still bring it up to Conor fans all the time, you know, about that chokeout, because he did tap after getting hurt with punches too.
And he didn't just tap.
Right.
He was waiting
He
to
gave
tap.
up. That's a complete give up. I give up. He said uncle.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect words. He did say uncle. He was already ready to be done. He just waited for it to sink in.
Right. And before the Wonder Boy fight for Pettis, you know, he was on a string of losses.
Yep.
So I think this matchup does make a lot of sense.
Perfect sense.
And I think that Nate Diaz is still in the talk at 170 pounds, you know?
I mean, his ability, he doesn't have striking power,
right,
but his volume and ability to land, I think he might even still hold the record for most significant strikes landed in a single fight. This dude is just incredible. He has no fear in the octagon. He has an iron chin, and most people forget one of the best ground game, maybe not, you know, not high up into the best, but top half of the best ground game.
Top jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
I mean, both Diaz brothers. You know,
and a gas tank that doesn't have an empty.
You'll never tire him out. You'll never break his will. And he will continue to throw punches. How many power punches has he confused with his crazy striking? You know?
It's uncountable. I mean, this dude is ridiculous.
And it's rudimentary boxing, but it's just shot after shot. He just doesn't stop throwing it.
Yep.
You know? And no power.
He throws with zero power. He plays the point game.
Right.
Him and his brother are
But he
great
hurts
at the point
you
game.
after so many shots too. It's crazy.
I mean, that's just inevitable.
I mean, well, what can we say about Anthony Showtime Pettis? I mean,
what an incredible athlete.
The dynamic attack he brings, striking.
And you never know what to expect. He's one of those guys who will throw some capoeira in the mix.
Absolutely, jump off the cage to throw a kick. You know, do a
knocked out Wonder Boy with an incredible Superman punch
off the back foot too, like, or you know, to throw a cartwheel kick and you know, kick you on top of the head.
And isn't he the one that knocked out Benson Henderson off of the cage with a
with the flying kick with the foot off the cage?
That was this dude is just incredible.
Right. 2 wins over Benson Henderson because of that in the armbar finish early first round.
Excellent submission game.
Excellent. Very underrated. I think they might cancel each other out here, or Pettis might even get the nod because, you know, if you look back in his career, he's a big-time veteran of mixed martial arts, but before that, he was competing in grappling competitions for years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he came in to MMA with a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before he knew how to punch and kick.
Yeah.
And
the thing I like about this fight too is like Anthony Pettis up until recently when he fought Max Holloway was unfinishable. You know, you get decision victories over him, but he had never been finished. Max Holloway did that, and you're going up against a guy who's not a finisher.
Right.
You know, he is a point guy. So this fight is going the distance.
He really did beat him up. But since then too, I think, you know, Holloway definitely dominated him.
Yeah.
But since then, you know, the other losses is a little bit of bad luck, you know.
Correct.
More than anything, with the broken hand, you know, the Ferguson fight, you know, his injuries. He's had.
And he was winning the Ferguson fight.
He's had the knee, you know, surgery, and he's been out due to injury, but.
This could be.
I think this is his time. He found his home at welterweight. He's not moving, you know, down and up in the weight anymore. He hits real hard at welterweight, finishing Wonder Boy, who had never been even finished in a kickboxing match. Never mind MMA.
So, oof.
We got a good one here. I think. I mean, I like Nate Diaz a lot, and I wasn't a big fan of him, but
I was there for the come around.
He made me a fan of him, and I don't want to go against him, but I don't think he's going to stop Pettis. I think Pettis is marching his way to a title shot.
I do think that Anthony Pettis wins this fight. I can't go against him. All right, now we have the big show. Daniel Cormier, 22-1 with 1 no contest, going up against the 18-3 Stipe Miocic, 2 former champs, two champs, you know, going up against each other. Stipe Miocic wants the belt back. Daniel Cormier.
From the man who took it
Yeah,
from
from
him.
the man who took it from him. And, you know,
You don't get that so much.
Yeah, and
you
the
know?
almost impossible to beat Daniel Cormier.
Ugh.
I mean, his only 2 losses, technically one, comes to the best to ever do it,
Right.
Johnny Bones Jones. Let's talk about this one. What do you think?
Another tough one to call. I love DC.
You know what?
DC is my favorite UFC fighter. You
Yeah?
know? Yeah, overall.
Whew, big praise right there.
Yeah, he has been for a while. I mean, there's no better wrestler, I don't think. I don't even think John Jones is a better pure wrestler than
What about
Daniel
Khabib?
Cormier. Possibly.
I think that might be and they're from the same gym.
Right. And,
So-
right, but DC's big ass would probably throw him around, just because of the weight
I meant more pound
differential.
for pound, not
yeah.
against each other.
But yeah, no, for real, Khabib might be just a little bit better.
Yeah.
But DC, I mean, does his IQ, I think, at
Yes,
this point
his
now
fight
too.
IQ.
You know, he doesn't use so many attacks.
No.
You know, he's
just
got
so good
big
at his attack.
He's got big power punches, and if people don't think that Daniel Cormier has power, that's crazy.
I think that's how he won the title.
I think he's got to be one of the heaviest hitting heavyweights that we've had. I mean, and he's a small heavyweight.
and he's a very small heavyweight.
You know, but I mean, he was hitting hard at light heavyweight, but he's much bigger, and he has got KO power for sure at heavyweight. And he hasn't lost any of that step with that wrestling. But like I say, he doesn't need to have a crazy attack. He don't kick.
No.
You know, he don't do nothing crazy.
Nothing
he throws
crazy.
big hooks straight down, and jabs and right hand straight down the pipe. And he wants to get that double leg on you or that high crotch hold and dump you on your head.
And just keep,
You know?
and just keep the pressure on you.
Yeah.
And you know what though? I don't know why. I even underlined Daniel Cormier to win this fight, but I was talking about it earlier, and I have this weird feeling Stipe Miocic knocks out Daniel Cormier.
I've been having a feeling that Stipe has a really good chance. A really good chance. I
Because
think.
Stipe is no slouch.
No, he's been tested.
And he, not only did he win his fight against what was looked at as the best fighter in the heavyweight division.
But looked at as the most powerful striker.
Yeah.
You know?
And then he comes in, he takes it from Fabricio Verdum.
Yeah. From
Takes the
Verdum.
title from Verdum, defends it against Alistair Overeem, which that was a dangerous fight for him.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and then he fights Francis Ngannou and endures.
Right.
You know, he weathers the storm and he outbeats him. I mean, he's gone up against the best in the division with his belt, and he maintained it, and then happened to go up against one of the best fighters the UFC's ever seen.
Yeah, I think Stipe, if he uses his combinations, because he's probably the best combination fighter at heavyweight. I think, I think he's got the best hand speed
Yep.
out of any heavyweight.
Very intelligent fighter.
Absolutely, he's been tested. His endurance is great. He can go the distance. Tried and true champion.
Yeah.
I mean, this is definitely a much bigger threat to DC than the last fight. I mean, like fighting Miocic the first time is not going to be this fight.
No,
It's
because
gonna be
now
much
Miocic
different.
knows what to be aware of now. He was probably just worried about the wrestling, thinking
Right.
he was just going to take him down. Now he knows, yeah, he can take me down, but he can also knock me and put me to sleep.
After surviving the Francis Ngannou fight, what's to say that he wasn't worried about power punching, or he didn't think that DC possessed more power than
Yes.
Ngannou? But
I
people
think
say,
I thought it was underestimating.
people say Ngannou's the hardest puncher, but maybe it's DC. Like he hits hard, man,
And here's the thing, Jones
and he
kinda
hits
hit on
more
it.
accurate.
Yeah, Jones hit on this. Just because you hit hard doesn't mean you hit accurately.
Right.
DC hits accurately.
And
he puts
hard.
it on the
Right.
button. And not to say that Ngannou isn't an accurate striker, but he's not as accurate because he just relies on that power.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens. So who you think got this fight?
I mean, I gotta back DC because I love him.
I want to split it up just for the fun of it, and because I think Stipe is coming in with something different, and I'm gonna say Stipe Miocic.
I'm gonna put it this way: I don't think I'm gonna call a winner. I'm gonna say I like Daniel Cormier, and I want him to win, but I think Stipe could win with his combinations, and DC should put the wrestling on him in this one.
Right to it, no hesitation.
Absolutely.
All right, so you've heard it here from us. You got the lowdown. Make sure you're watching this pay-per-view Saturday night. It looks like it's going to be a wild one. Make sure you're checking us out on Gym Bag Entertainment on YouTube. Make sure you check out our Facebook page, Gym Bag Entertainment, or at Gym Bag ENT. Check it out on Instagram at GymBag_ENT, and check out the Twitter #GymENT. Until then, we're always here. We're always going to be giving you content. We have new shows coming out. But until then, we'll see you in the octagon. Have a good night.
Peace.